OG who never did shit wrong. You tried to diss the easy E, so now nigga it's on you and your doggy dog. Think that y'all hogging shit. Both of you bitches could come and suck my doggy dick.
Eazy-E, Drayster, and BG Knockout be
real
playing.
motherfucking G's.
And that shit be knocking, and you hear me singing it. Motherfuck Drake, motherfuck Suge, motherfuck Death Row. That nigga Eazy was on my head.
Yo, when that shit started though with the Compton.
That shit's so hard.
So when you first heard it, did you think that, or were you pissed?
Nah, fuck them niggas. You don't want to give no nigga no credit when a nigga dissing you, nigga. And we was on them niggas' head. We had What Would You Do? We had Dre Day. When they dropped that motherfucker, we felt that one. Because Eazy was going in on the nigga. I was like, damn, I love Eazy. Why he going so hard on me? But then I had to think, look what you did to him. Look what you said about him. Like, you didn't even get off to a good start with somebody that you really love, dog.
No matter OG who never did shit wrong. You tried to diss the easy E, so now nigga it's on you and your doggy dog. Think that y'all hogging shit. Both of you bitches could come and suck my doggy dick.
You hear what he's saying for real? Or you just listening like it's a song. It's crazy how quick a nigga can switch from wearing lipstick.
Switch so quick from wearing lipstick to smoking on chronic and picnic.
Laying in the grass all close side by side, huddled up and shit together, man. That's the type of picture you take with your bitch.
Smoking on chronic. What do you think he talking about? Tory Lanez is serving a 10-year prison sentence. They say he shot Megan Thee Stallion in her foot. Got 10 years for shooting Megan in the foot. The jury found him guilty of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, unregistered firearm, and it was discharged. So that's like 10 years. He's serving at least like half that damn near. He basically got convicted of witness testimonies, and the witness testimonies wasn't even accurate. It didn't line up with the details or anything in the case. So what he was arrested for, the bodyguard Kelsey, whoever she at right here, comes forward and confirms that Kelsey was the one who shot Megan Thee Stallion, not Tory Lanez, right? I've been saying he didn't shoot her. Not her, at least.
How long ago Unite the People was approached
but this
by
is her bodyguard
named Bradley James.
Kelsey, so say.
Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun.
His DNA wasn't even found on the weapon.
This statement aligns with the statement of the only...
Just with his DNA not being found on the weapon, how do you take any of the witnesses' testimonies at that point? There's no camera evidence and his DNA isn't found on the weapon. Other people's was. Something's not making sense.
Non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, There were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense?
It was suppressed.
Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
Vlad says he has a confession. That's all he had to say. He didn't even have to say the rest. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. We knew that, Vlad. We knew you was trying to get information out of certain people for somebody. You might not have been the police, but for somebody, you're a cop. You're a cop. We can tell it by the way you come, by the way you ask questions, by the angles you be taking. But yes, Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. They also paid off all the jury members to convict Tory and bribed the judge too. Jay-Z did a verse for his grandson's new album. I don't know about this, but this could be accurate. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay's payroll. It doesn't stop at LA, but you're not ready to hear that part. That Mexican guy who stabbed Tory, who do you think paid him to do that? The three Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal all paid off by the rap mafia. They also paid Trump not to pardon Tory. I don't know how this works. It says it's a state case. Trump can only pardon federal cases, but Trump likes to bend the rules. Jay wasn't taking any chances. I can't keep these secrets anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. Or by him just saying his last sentence. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me? Either Jay-Z is finna get caught in some Epstein shit, like some Rico shit, and everybody around him that's in them files is finna get in trouble, and Vlad knows what's coming. He was working with him. He was getting paid by him. So he aired his shit off now to be like, whenever that time does come, gonna be like, I wasn't involved. And she was, Vlad is doing this shit to cover his ass. I can't keep these lies secret anymore. Vlad is doing this to cover his ass. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. Obviously, he knows he has enough influence for it to not be his last tweet. But they're not going, Vlad's not just going to disappear. He said it's over for Jay-Z. I keep saying he will be the only guy arrested from the Epstein files, the fall guy. And wasn't he on the files also? He said every blogger is on Jay-Z payroll. We all got paid with Bitcoin. Now that the price dropped, you'll see a lot of us turning on him. But people not realizing it's just a chain reaction. Going down. Started with the Epstein files for real. Rich ass nigga with a private island. Then it led to our president. And popular people for real. Like the people with bread. And Jay-Z. Jay-Z got a boss too. He was on the files. Thought of somebody too. But he's just the one that's taking all this blame. He's the one gonna go to jail like Diddy. You have these billions right now. You're gonna have to do time eventually. You the face of this shit whenever it. Yeah. Okay, it's right, chat. He said, I'm seeing news reports that Kelsey's bodyguard came forward and said that Kelsey shot Megan, not Tory Lanez. The only problem is that Kelsey's bodyguard wasn't actually bodyguarding her the night of the shooting. His testimony is based off a conversation he claimed he heard. 98% of appeals fall through. This isn't going to overturn Tory's conviction. If this were actually true, Tory should have just taken the stand and said it, which I feel like he would have. Also, the story doesn't match up with the jail call of Tory apologizing to Kelsey. You're an idiot if you think that someone sitting in jail is going to apologize to the person who put them there. And why would the shooter even do a jail call with the person who's being charged with their crime?
Regardless, I know she probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but bruh, I just want you to know, bruh, I was just so drunk, I didn't even know what the was going on, bro. I didn't even know what the was going on, bro. Like that, I'd never do something like that, bro. Just so drunk. I just didn't even understand what the f going on, bro. Like, so whatever.
Yeah.
Bro. But you know, regardless, that's not gonna make anything right, and that's not gonna make my actions right, bro. But I'm just deeply sorry, bro. I never even moved like that, bro. Like, never moved like that at all, bro. Like, for real, dog.
But you see how I cut in right there? Where the beginning at? It's like if I take a screenshot and cut out all the notifications. How the feet gonna ask, why'd you cut out the top? Because someone texted me. Like, what? I didn't want you to see what the text said. It be clipped out to make people seem a certain way, and the whole time it don't even be the full story. It's deeper than that. Not all of it. We talk about this is also old news for me, but that's Vlad, because that do contradict what the bodyguard say and what he say. But what he's saying lines up a little bit more than what the bodyguard saying. He said they bribed the judge to Jay-Z did a verse. He ain't do no verse. That's not what he was talking about. I don't think that's what he was talking about. Did a verse for his grandson's new album. If he did a verse, he wrote it for him or some shit. Like, he did him a favor, I'm sure. I feel like that's a way of saying a favor. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. If she wasn't shot, I ain't lying. She would been posting all about it and all type of shit. Like, she wasn't shot. The LA police are on Jay's payroll. Doesn't stop with LA, but you're not ready to hear that part. I don't know who the fuck on his payroll. I don't care who on his payroll. I'm not on it. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory, who you think paid him to do that? Yeah, that's... Unless he started a problem in there or was disrespectful or some shit or had issues with some people prior. I definitely believe that one. The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal all paid off by Rock Mafia. I also believe that. That's some shit that's no questions asked. I want to get more information about this. I want to look at this again. Why are we booking him off straight witness testimonies that ain't accurate? No DNA, no evidence for real. They also paid Trump not to pardon Tory. See this? I believe the first part. But I don't think they paid him not to pardon him. I just think they paid him like it should not to be fucked with. Tory got pulled. It's just Tory's from Canada. So I don't know if they would even. He don't really got leverage over here. He don't. Inside the music, he's not from over yet. He got leverage and connections and other shit, but it's not home field advantage. But knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay wasn't taking any chances. I can't keep these secret anymore. My last tweet, you know, something. Like, just off your first sentence, I have a confession. Or first 2, Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. We see your character. It's a flaw right there. Then we gotta look at his character now. Why would he tweet this? But he was never paid or he was involved. He doesn't want to get caught up in this RICO in the future, which I really think is what it is. This tweet is covering his ass from a lot of not ill, but like not the best intent shit he was doing. He's wanting to do stuff for money, so how do we know he wasn't paid on February 14th to steer people in the wrong direction? Somebody could have came with a fatter check than Rock Nation. With the shady business, Jay-Z.
They say to become a billionaire,
He was in the files.
Gotta screw over a lot of people. Kind of like how Marcus stole Facebook, how William Gates, a sociopath, stole a bunch of Apple's ideas. Y'all all know Elon be wildin'. And none other than the Jigga Man, who today we're gonna use as an example. Now, this is no shade to Jay-Z, he's just a perfect example because when he was coming up, he said he was a hustler. To be a billionaire, you gotta hustle, scam, bamboozle, and a lot of street hustling kind of connects to business. Now, Jay-Z had a problem because remember, I just said to be a billionaire, you gotta screw over a lot of people. Some can see that as, this guy's a jerk. But Jay-Z is the face of his business. Like he says, I'm a business, man. If you don't know how your commas work, he's basically saying he's a business. Now, if you are the business, your stocks can go up and down depending on you. Let me put it to you this way. If Elon Musk was this super nice guy who gave to charity all the time and he bought Twitter and it was failing, people would be like, man, that's tough for Elon. And a lot of people will probably help him out. Now we all know that's not Elon Musk, so people just laugh at him as Twitter crashes and burns and prays for his downfall. Now let's see how Jay-Z toes this balance perfectly with Tidal. Now if you don't know, Tidal was this music service that Jay-Z bought a while ago. He said, yo, this is gonna be the biggest thing in streaming. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Now why Jay-Z started Tidal was actually a pretty good reason. Streaming platforms are not paying artists. So if he makes Tidal and he promotes Tidal, pays artists a whole bunch of money, people will love Tidal. And he actually did this by giving the most amount of revenue to artists. And he also made this whole grand production where a bunch of famous musicians came on stage signing "We Own" part of Tidal. Jay-Z gave it to us. Everyone's like, woo! Jay-Z like, so y'all finna sign up for Tidal? Everyone's like, no. Jay-Z said, but why? They said, cause I have Spotify already. But Jay-Z, you a good dude. He underestimated the fact that people were like, yo, Beyonce would be all right if I just go on Spotify. She's a millionaire. Ain't that right, Jay-Z? Jay-Z said, well, now you can only get her album on Tidal. Now what? People were like, I don't really like that. And people just listened to another artist. It wasn't that deep. But at this point, people did not like Jay-Z. He had so much stock with the people that people were just giving him the benefit of the doubt. They're like, oh, he's a business
That be loaded as shit, but
man, he's just trying to make a business move. It's annoying, but sure. Now there was a few more album exclusives, but then Kanye West dropped his highly anticipated The Life of Pablo on Tidal exclusively. Now people weren't tripping that Kanye's album was exclusively on Tidal. I think like 300 million people paid the subscription fee to listen to the album. Then a week later, Kanye drops the album on Apple Music. Everyone who paid the Tidal subscription felt scammed because the album was exclusively supposed to be released on Tidal. In fact, Tidal gets sued and it's starting to look really bad because at this point, people are only buying into this because Jay-Z is the savvy businessman. It's okay. But now it just seems Jay-Z, remember, he's the face of the business, is forcing people to pay to listen to their favorite artists, and his business is failing. Maybe he's not that business savvy, so his reputation is taking a slight dip. So Jay-Z goes, oh snap, it's time to jump ship. So he hits up his friend Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey founded Twitter. He's like, yo, Jack, you want to come on my yacht? Jack goes, me? Of course. Rich people still think famous people are famous. So Jack goes on vacation with Jay-Z. Jack sees Beyonce. He goes, that Beyonce? Jay-Z goes, yup. Hey, you want to buy Tidal? Jack goes, your failing music service? Jay-Z said, now who said it's failing? Jack said, everybody online. Jay-Z goes, well, you can't believe everything you read. So Jack goes over to his shareholders and tells them, yo, we're buying Tidal. They go, Jay-Z's failing music service? Jack said, now who said it's failing? They said these legal documents that Tidal is obligated to show us, showing that they're failing. Jack said, well, you can't believe everything you read. We buying it for 300 million. They go, what the? They buy it. Jack's the boss. Now, Tidal, of course, fails, but it had people questioning, why did Jack do this? Because even though Jay-Z is Jay-Z, this is ridiculous. The shareholders thought the same thing, so they sue Jack. And here's where it starts to get wicked. There's something I forgot to tell you. A part of the deal where Jack and his company paid $300 million for Tidal was Jay-Z, listen closely, gets on the board of directors for Jack's company. The board and the shareholders were like, what? Jay-Z said, what, Jigga, I'm here now. So people were suspicious, including the judge. Judge was like, yo, so is he just like your friend and you just helped him out? Jack goes, no, I just thought it was a pretty good idea. The judge goes, well, you got the bag and fumbled it. Jack goes, I'm sorry? The judge goes, you got the bag and fumbled it. Jack goes, okay, I won't fumble the bag next time. My fault, judge. Judge goes, great, you're free to go. The shareholders were like, hey, yo. But in the judge's words, it's not criminal to make a bad business decision. In fact, I think the judge said a terrible business decision. The judge was like, this transaction was done in bad faith, but it didn't break the law. And now it's time for our story break with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is able to monitor your data across billions of data points to alert you.
He's even more loaded right now. He's more pilled than he was before. He got stupid pilled for this ad. We're back to
Try 2 weeks out for free. Now back to our story. So who got screwed here? First things first, Jay-Z made it out. Got $300 million, and I believe this was what pushed him to $1 billion. The shareholders screwed because they lost a bunch of money. But Jack is where it gets kind of interesting. People either think Jack got screwed or he was in on this with Jay-Z all along, meaning Jay-Z and Jack screwed over the businessman. You keeping up so far? So basically Jack pays some of that $300 million to Jay-Z, which he can totally afford. Jack hangs out with Jay-Z, they swap ideas, they become friends, and continue to work together when it comes to making a bunch of money in the future. Win-win for both of them. Shareholders get none of this with Jay-Z, and they just lose money. An NYU business professor called this an expensive tab to hang out with Jay-Z. Now, how does this make Jay-Z the hustler? Well, he basically sold himself instead of title. When he knew the business was failing, he just went into the old hustler's playbook. Just pretend it's not failing and then sell it to a sucker. At first, he tried to sell it by pretending the number of subscribers were bigger than they were. They did actual projections on his numbers, and they're like, bro, you're like 10 times below what you said you're doing. Jay-Z's like, let me see those numbers again. Companies were like, oh no. Jay-Z was like, but I'm Jay-Z though. Again, in comes Jack Dorsey. Jay-Z either hustles Jack, or Jay and Jack hustle the shareholders. Anyway, Jay-Z's actually not a stranger to these business tactics, pretending a product is good when it's eh. He's done this with his alcohol company, his other alcohol company, his clothing brand, pretty much.
Instead of coming up with good ideas, he's just using his face as leverage. Like, he's not really coming up with no crazy shit.
A lot of things he has his hand in business for.
And he's
now, this isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's basically what a majority of commercials are. It's why companies hire celebrities to like use their stuff. Except Jay-Z is both the company and the celebrity. Now, let's take things a step further and talk about how Jay-Z first came into the rap game. He actually used this exact same strategy to become famous. Pretending something's amazing, it's actually worth nothing, but getting big companies to buy into it. And that something was his record label, Rockefeller Records. Now, I made this part of the video another day and I'm too lazy to film it over, so here you go. Now, Jay-Z's no stranger to this business strategy.
Why do you think his business label is called the richest families? Vlad, I think he's just protecting his own ass. He put another pair of pants on just in case he start hitting people with the RICO and shit. Cause once it gets too far out, and once people know that Tory was wrongfully convicted for something he didn't do, really just gone. Some shit's gonna have to happen to Jay-Z, happen to Diddy. Investigate him. Something gonna happen. Jerry too, Snoop too, Jay too, everybody on that side. He was really been on that. And who you think his health deteriorated way too fast for it to be this, for it to be that. So even if he did have this
early stream,
nah, facts, real. So even if he did have this, I don't think that's what unalived him.
In fact, he did this when he first started coming up.
Caught it late. He didn't catch it late, bro. Trust.
As a rapper, as Jay-Z says, he's a hustler from the streets. When he learned that you can hustle legally, he said, oh snap. So he went to record labels and said, yo, I'm about to be the biggest thing. They said, who are you? He said, like I was saying, I'm Jay-Z. I'm about to be, they said, Jay-Z said, y'all ain't even listen to my album yet. And the funny thing is, Jay-Z had a legendary album on his hands, but no.
You wanna hear some crazy shit? Or it's not even crazy. Imagine you probably don't even got that shit no more. Bro, it's 2026, bro. If you don't go eat some plants till that shit go away.
I know I'm trolling Adin.
I'll play it after this.
Nobody was trying to hear it. They said, we good, Jazzy. He said, first of all, my name is Jay-Z. Second of all, y'all gonna see. So Jay-Z had a problem.
URL.
Nobody was trying to sign him. So Jay-Z does what he knows best. Hustles. He gets his two friends, Dame Dash and Biggs Burke, and they create their own independent record label called Rockefeller Records. They didn't have no money really. At least not enough to go on crazy tours or have like a whole album release, but they did have some cash from selling. So what did they do? They spent it on clothes, jewelry, cars, all that. Now from the outside looking in, it looks financially irresponsible, but they did this for a reason. Remember the strategy, make the business look good and people buy into it. Well, the business in this case is the record label they started. They was walking in the clubs, spending money, all that. People was like, who them? Somebody would slide in, be like, that's Jay-Z and them from Rockefeller Records. They'd be like, who are you? Don't worry about that. Jay-Z, y'all ain't heard of Jay-Z? They'd be like, nah, should I have? Dude would slide out and be like, y'all missing out. They paid the DJ to call their name. That's Jay-Z and them from Rockefeller Records. And they were looking like a big deal. And plus, remember, the album and the music was really good. In reality, they're selling the music out the trunk of their car. So the music starts getting out there. Record labels are like, yo, who is this Jay-Z from Rockefeller Records? Jay-Z. Jay-Z like, huh? They said, you want to sign to our record label? Jay-Z be like, no, I'm already signed to Rockefeller Records. Record labels are like, well, we usually give artists 5% of their own music. What if we give you 10? Record labels are a scam too, one of the legal scams. Jay-Z said 50-50. Record labels said 50 what? Jay-Z would be like, okay, fine. They'd be like, wait. Universal eventually signs with a 50-50 deal with Rockefeller Records, which was insane at the time, especially because he only did this by pretending he was bigger than he was. Now, a lot of times in scams, people will pretend they're bigger than they are and the other party will get nothing. Like what Jay-Z did in the whole title thing. Jay-Z got 300 million, Jack Dorsey got sued. But in this case, even though Jay-Z finessed a 50-50 deal, his music was actually really good. So Universal gets a big payout because of it. This gives him a lot of credibility, which later allowed him to snake one of his friends that I told you about earlier, Dame Dash. Now, saying that he snaked him is debatable. Dame Dash was kind of a loose cannon and he was making Jay-Z look really bad, but that's a story for another day. Actually, I touched on that story. I'll probably put the video somewhere up here. Now, at the end of the day, as the business people say, it's just business. I would turn up if I got hustled like this, but I guess that's why I'm not a businessman. It takes a certain mind to be able to screw people over and just be okay with it. For the majority of us, they would probably just wring us dry. And all a judge would probably say is, like the judge said to Jack's shareholders, you got licked. What Jack and Jay-Z did to y'all was certainly in bad faith. But don't hate the player, hate the game. Anyway, let me end this video by saying I appreciate every single one of y'all that be subscribing. If you're not subscribing, then subscribe right now. And keep an eye out for live content on Twitch.
Better know what you're doing when you're going on that mission. I know professional shooters and I get them niggas pissed. But for that drill, they walk down. My young niggas most so sick. I try to teach this bitch a lesson. That little bitches wouldn't rinse. I tired of lectures. Now I'm sending all these hoes to the tip. I put my city on loose swag. Little bitch, check out my invention. When BR niggas get a bag, we heading straight to the dick. I'ma put some diamonds in my dick. Reach for my jewelry, I leave you crazy.